Going over the ACAP practice test and how to do everything. So the very first question asks you, if a car travels 180 miles in 3 hours, at this rate, how many miles does the car travel in 1 hour? So if you know how many they travel in 3 hours, let's think about, is it going to be more or less in 1 hour? It's going to be less, because if they can do 180 in 3 hours, they obviously aren't going to do as much in 1 hour. So go ahead and you can cross off which answer? 540. So that one's already gone. So don't sit there and say, oh, I don't know what to do with these numbers, so I'm just going to do 180 times 3. Because guess what 180 times 3 is? 540. They want you to try to do a random operation. Y'all got to get out of the habit of just saying, I don't know what to do here. Do I multiply, divide, add, subtract? And y'all try them all until you get an answer that's on here. But they have those answers as choices on here. So you got to be very careful. So you know it's not going to be more, because that doesn't make sense. For you to do 180 miles in 3 hours, but then do 540 in 1 hour? Not a lot of sense. Okay, so what we do is we set up a rate or a proportion, or I know some of y'all are just like, well, I know if it's that many in 180 hours, I just need to see how many is in 1. And so I divided 180 by 3. Yes, that is what you're doing. I, however, set it up like your proportions, because y'all need to remember how to do these on the test. Miles per hour. I have 180 miles in 3 hours. So how many do I have in 1 hour? And there's a few different ways you can solve this. You can cross multiply and divide by the number left over. Or you can divide this number by this number. Since it's a rate and you're just trying to find 1, you can just divide to find how many is in 1. Or you can say 3 divided by what gives me 1. So 3 divided by 3 gives me 1. That means 180 divided by 3 gives me blank. So there's a lot of different things that you can do when you set it up as a proportion. And so this one you will not get a calculator for. So I showed y'all that you need to show your work. So 180 divided by 3, you have to do long division. 3 goes into 18 6 times. 18, bring down your 0. Bring down that 0. 3 goes into 0 0 times. So that's a total of 60. Okay, so that work does need to be shown if you do not have it. The next one, so if you're typing this in, this one was the easy one to type in, obviously. You type in 60 and then go to the next question. All right, next we have all sides of a polygon have the same length. You need to read all the things it says. It says all have the same length. And it says there are 4 vertices, and if you look up there on the board, vertices mean those corners where places meet. So if it all has the same length, think about it, and there are 4 corners, there are 4 vertices, and they all have the same length, what shape are you making? A square. This polygon, a square is a polygon. Okay? Remember, polygons is any shape that's closed in and has straight sides. So you're making a square. So you have this polygon, all sides are the same length, and it's a square because there's 4 vertices. 4 vertices, that means 4 corners. And the vertices are at 3, 5, and 10, 5. So my very first thought is not just look at these answer choices and try to mark them off. My very first thought is, let me plot these on a fake little coordinate plane. Let me plot 3, 5, and 10, 5 and see where they are. So I'll go down here and I pretend if I go to 3, 5, and 10, 5, they're like this, okay? And I'll count, how many is 3 apart from 10? 7. And I know all sides have the same length. If all sides have the same length and one side is 7, that means all sides are 7. So that's why D is true. That's why D is true. We just mark that the length of each side of the polygon is 7 units. We know that because we know that 3, 5, and 10, 5 are 7 away from each other. So, and they're all the same length, so that means every single side has 7 units. Okay, so we know that one's true. Knowing that one's true helps me find the other one. Okay, does the polygon have 5 sides? No, it only has 4 vertices. How can it have 5 sides? It's only got 4 corners. How can it have 5 sides? It would have to have 5 vertices. The vertices match the sides. Okay, another vertex could be at point 312. So I go over here and I'm like, okay, let me fake pretend like I'm going from 3 up to 12. If I go 3 up to 12, how far away is that original point at 3, 5 from 3, 12? How many points are they away from each other? How many is 5 away from 12? 7. So could that be a side? Could that be an actual point? It is possible because it's 7 away. Okay, so that one is the other answer choice, but I'm going to keep going just so that you can see this. Another vertex could be at the point 10, 9. So I go to 10, and then I go up to 9. If I go over 10 and up 9, this one was at 5. This is at 5. And if I go all the way up to 9, how far apart are 5 and 9? How far apart are 5 and 9? They're only 4 apart. But if I just said all links were 7, how can they only be 4 apart? So that is not true. And then all the vertices must be in the same quadrant of the coordinate plane. That is not true because look, I could have drawn this shape going up this way, 7, 7, and 7, or I could have drawn it going down 7, 7, and 7, and it would have gone into that quadrant. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's why that one wasn't true. So the two answers that are true are D and B. That one was a tricky one, but you need to have somewhere on your paper why that is the correct answer. I don't care if you got it right. I don't care if you just wrote D and B. You have to have some proof of why it is D and B. Do you understand now why it is D and B? Are you sure? And everybody was getting confused until I told them, go to your seat and draw out these vertices. Draw what you know. You know it's at 3, 5, you know it's at 10, 5, and you know all sides have the same length. Take your information and use it as much as you can. Okay? Any questions about that one? No? Okay. So let's move on to number 3. So that one was B and D. That was easy to type into your iPad. Go to the next one. This is another easy one to type in. Enter the missing value in the table of equivalent ratios. They gave you a very easy one here, actually. So they gave you this chart, and they want you to find the pattern, right? So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. What are they doing over here? Counting by 5s. 8, 16, blank, 32, 40. They're counting by 8, okay? So from 16 plus 8 will give us how many?
24.
24, okay? So when you are counting by 5s over here, you're counting by 8s over here. In that spot, 16 plus 8 gives you 24. That was an easy one. So you go to the iPad, you type in 24. Make sure you don't have any spaces. Don't give an extra space or anything because it says it's an invalid character. So just 24, and then go to the next question. All right, this one. This is the one that almost everybody had some kind of issue or struggle with. So let's look at this. We need to read everything that's on here. It says, what is the area in square inches of this polygon? Now, you get a calculator, and you get right here at the top button, you see the X plus the Y. That is a reference sheet. That gives you a reminder of the area of a triangle, trapezoid, rectangle, square, all of that, surface area, volume, and this will be very helpful to you on the test, okay? This also reminds you that you get a calculator during the test. I would just choose basic scientific. You don't need it for this. There is no point in it. All right. So what we're going to do is, this is what I had most people do. They were like, oh, area, you multiply. And then just multiplied all of these numbers together. No, doesn't work. They were like, oh, area, you add all the sides together. No, that's perimeter. And you don't even know this side. So you can't add all the sides together. So you don't add everything together. You don't multiply everything together. You have to find the area. How much is inside of this? Now, I don't know how to find the area of this shape. It is a weird looking shape. And when I go on I don't even know what this is called. I know it's a polygon, but there's not a specific name for it. So I can't just go on my reference sheet and look for the area of whatever this shape is. But I know I can make this shape into 2 different shapes that I do know how to find the area of. So what 2 shapes could you draw this into? And Line Guide will help you do that. I don't know how to use this tool actually, so y'all. Oh, here it is. You can divide this into what 2 shapes, Claire?
A triangle and a rectangle.
A triangle and a rectangle, right there. You see that? There's a rectangle, there's a triangle. Okay, so what I do is I divide this into two shapes. Now, here was the problem. You have to find the area of a rectangle and the area of a triangle. Okay, area of a rectangle is area equals length times width, or area equals base times height. And then for a triangle, it's 1/2 base times height. So I go over here to this, I have this picture, and I draw it out. I draw it out on my paper, okay? So when you draw this out on your paper, you will see I've got to find the area of this shaded pink and this area of this green shape, okay? So the area of this, area equals base times height. The base is how, or the length, how long is it? It's not, look up here, it is not 18 long. If it was 18 long, that means it would stop right here. It doesn't stop right there. It is 24 long. The base, the bottom, it is 24 long. So that's the base. And what is the height? Is the height 20?
No.
Of this rectangle, what is the height? 8. So you do 24 times 8. And when you do 24 times 8, you have a calculator, and you get 192 inches squared. So that's the area of this rectangle, 192 inches squared. But you still have to find the area of this triangle. Well, they didn't tell you how long this is right here. How are you supposed to find the base of this triangle from here to here, how long this is, if they don't give it to you? Caesar? Okay, I need everybody to see this because people kept blanking out on this. Look at this. From here to here, it is 24. Do y'all agree? From here to here? And from here to here, it's 18. If from here to here, it's 18, and from here to here, it's 24, how much do you have left over from 18 to get to 24? How much? 6, okay? So 6 plus 18, like 6 plus the 18 will give me a total of 24 inches. So from here to here, it is 6 inches. So the base of this triangle is 6 inches. So remember, 1/2 base times height. Base is 6 inches, okay? So 24 minus 18 gives me 6 as the base for this. So I got 6 inches as the base. Now I got to find the height of this. It's not 20. 20 is how long this whole thing is. I just need from the bottom of the triangle to the top of the triangle. And so I know this is 20. And let me tell you, almost everybody made this mistake. This looks, it almost is picture perfect. Looks like this is half of this, right? It looks like this is 20 and oh, that's half. So it's 10 and 10. Almost everybody made that mistake. The pictures are not drawn to scale. They are not drawn to scale, which means they look like it's half and half. Like if you had a picture it in your head, you would think, oh, that's half and that's half. Not true. They said that from here to here, it is 8 inches. 8 inches from here to here. That means if this is 8 inches, think about it. If from here to here is 8 inches, that means from here to here is how many inches? No, it's not doubled. It looks like it's half and that you would think that that's 8 inches, but this is a total of 20. Total of 20. I've taken up 8 of the 20, so how many do I have left over? 12. So this has to be 12 inches, okay? Because that's how many is left over. So now 12 plus 8 gives me a total of 20. So now that's my base, that's my height. Now for the area of a triangle, you have to do base times height, so 6 times 12. See, 6 times 12. And then I have to divide it by 2. So I get 6 times 12 is 72, and then I have to half that. You can either divide by 2, or you can multiply by a half, which is 0.5. And you'll get 36. Another trick, what you could do is you could half one of the numbers. I can half 12, make it 6. 6 times 6, 36. Which is your answer, okay? So that's 36 for that area, and this is 192 for this area. So together, the whole area of them together, we had to add 36 plus 192, and I get a whole total area of 228 inches squared. Now, does anybody have any questions about that one? Okay, make sure you know how to type it in. 228. Now, there is no spot for you to put in inches squared. So don't try to find a button to do that unless it's on there, okay? They just want you to type this in. Okay, now go to the next one. Histogram. We get all of this information, and what's the very first thing you need to do when you get a list of data? Blakeland? order them least to greatest. So what I did is I ordered them least to greatest. Check your numbers, make sure you ordered them least to greatest, and you will see, I told y'all the very first thing you need to do is write them down because you don't have them written down. I know you can use that online tool where you cross them off, but I wrote them down on my piece of paper so that I could cross them off on my piece of paper as I ordered them, so I didn't miss a single number. I also like to count them and then recount them. So like count how many numbers I originally wrote down, and then after I rewrite them in order, make sure I have the same amount of numbers. Okay, so like when I was ordering those from least to greatest, when we were doing the dojo points, I went back and counted to make sure I had 20 before I started doing anything with the work. Okay, so I wrote them down from least to greatest. 58, 60, 64, 68, 71, all that. And then on my histogram, I had to tell how many are from 51 to 60. Now that they're in order, I can say, is that one from 51 to 60? Is this one from 51 to 60? Yes, so how many are from 51 to 60? 2, so I drew it up to 2. Next, from 61 to 70, does that make the criteria? Yes. Does that make the criteria? Yes. Does that make the criteria? No, it's over 70, so just 2, so I'll go up to 2. So on here, when you're doing it, you'll just click and drag. So this one's up to 2. This one's up to 2. The next one, how many are here? So from 71 to 80. So 71, 72, 75, 75, 78, and 80. Those all count. So I count all those up, and how many are there? 6. So on here, go up to 6. All right. Oh, that's 5. Go to 6. All right. From 81 to 90, how many are there? Just 1. Just 1. Because 80 counts for the 81, not the 81. The 81, not the 81. Okay, so then we have how many left for the 91 through 100? Just 1. So these only go up to the 1. So your histogram should look like this. Does anybody have any questions about that? It's pretty easy. Make sure you fixed it on your paper. Have the work shown or whatever. All right. Good job. Let's move on to number 6. All right. This one stumped people. Do not forget. Do not forget. X comes first, then Y. X, then Y. This is your x-axis. This is your y-axis. So if I'm plotting 1, negative 2, I got to go over 1, then down negative 2. 1, 3 is over 1, up 3. 5, negative 2 is up over 5, down negative 2. And then 5, 6 is over 5, up 6. You put those points there, and then you connect them. So this is what your polygon should have looked like. Now, they just say polygon because there's not really a good name for that shape. Yes, it's a quadrilateral. It looks like a trapezoid with its hand cut off. It's just a polygon, okay? You're not drawing a specific shape. And you know that if your shape, I saw a lot of people with shapes. I need a pencil really quick. Can I get somebody's pencil? Oh, I got 2 right here on the ground. Some people's shapes looked like this. That's not a polygon. A polygon, you can't like cross over. It's got to have, and it can't be open. I had some people like that. I had some people graph something that looked like this. A polygon is a connected shape. There are no open ends. There are no curves, okay? So if you plotted something that looks like this, you know you did it wrong. So make sure you plot the points and then connect them where the shape fills in. Now, here's the hard part, is actually putting it on here. And I want to make sure everybody knows how to do this because you might have written it on your paper right and not typed it in the computer right. So you press click to respond. I wrote on my paper, since you can't see them while you're graphing, I wrote them on my paper so that I can see what I'm graphing. So I'm going to graph 1, negative 2. Yes. You can move this. Yeah. So press the dot first, and then you go to 1, negative 2. Now, some people would do this, and you see how it accidentally plotted it above? Make sure it plotted it in the correct spot. That is not the correct spot. I know I clicked right here, but it's a little disoriented. So I'm going to have to erase it and try to click a little bit below it. 1, negative 2. There, it finally went on there. And then I have to plot 1, 3. So 1 up to the 3. Up, see how it plotted it up 4? So I have to go back, make sure it is Oh goodness, I just erased the whole thing. 1, -2. See how it's
You can put your finger on it and drag it.
oh, you can put your finger on it and drag it.
Can't see it over your mouth.
Oh, I can't see it over my nail. There we go. 1, -2, and then 1, 3. There we go. And then, why didn't it go there? Hello, ghost dot. Okay. And then we had 5, -2, 5, -2. And then we had, are y'all doing this on yours right now? I want to see it. And then, y'all are probably faster at this than me. And then 5, 6. So 5 over 5 up to 6. Okay. And then the hard part was connecting the lines, because if you did too many lines, it like cut you off. So you only can have 4 lines. So you press the line button, have to select it, and then you just connect these. You can't go over and you can't go under, or you have to erase it. Let's see. This is the hard part. Ugh. It just takes forever just to do this. Okay, there you go. So that's what it should look like when you put it on there. Did everybody get, like, was everybody able to work it and get it to make that shape? Yes, no, maybe. So, okay, good. We good with that one? So then you press OK. Make sure it shows up the way you want it right here. And then press the next button. All right, this one. I don't know why this one was such a struggle. So you drag each number into the correct spot on the number line. So this was difficult because 0.5 obviously is what? It's half, right? 0.5 is half. So from 0 to 1, it's right in the middle. Okay, so make sure this is in between, right in between. I don't care how many tick marks there are. I don't care how many they put there. It's in the middle of 0 and 1, so 0.5 should be in the middle of 0 and 1. Because it's half. Do y'all see that? Now, this one is confusing because -1 3/4. It's more negative than negative. It's more negative than -1. It's -1 and 3/4. So it's not right here. A lot of people put it right here. That is -3/4. But that's not -1 and 3/4. So it does not go here. It's more negative. It does not go here because I know you're used to going 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, or whatever, and putting 3/4 right there. But it's going backwards. Okay? So you've got -1. This would be -1 and 1/2. And so what's even more than -1 and 1/2 is -1 and 3/4 right here. Wait, right here. Do y'all see that? Because that's -1, -1 and 1/4, -1 and 2/4, -1 and 3/4, -1 and 4/4, or 2. Okay? So make sure that is in the correct spot. We all see that? Did we correct that? It's more negative. It's confusing because it's backwards. Any questions about that one? We got it? Okay. Number 8. 8 was annoying as mess. 8 was so annoying. This one. But I need y'all to start reading your directions. It said to find the area of this geometric figure, the student has to divide it into 3 smaller shapes. The student then finds the area of the 3 smaller shapes and adds them together. It didn't ask us to find the area. It asked us to find what 3 shapes that he made and how he was going to find the area by finding their length and their width. Pay attention to what I'm saying on this question. You have to divide this into 3 shapes. Yes, you can divide this into 3 shapes, but it needs to be shapes you would know how to find the area of. Don't divide it into another shape that you don't know how to find the area of. I had people writing this shape out like this, and y'all were trying to divide it into, like, people were doing like this. They're like, I see a triangle there and then like a trapezoid here. Well, guess what? Trapezoid wasn't one of the shapes as an option for him to divide it into. There were 2 options that he could divide it into. He could divide it into a rectangle or a right triangle. Those are the only two he could divide it into. So we need to make this shape up of rectangles and triangles. But he has 3 shapes. Why are there only 2? If he had 3 shapes in here, why are there only 2 options?
Because there are 2 rectangles.
Because there are 2 rectangles. He can make 2 rectangles and a triangle. Okay? So we go to this and see how can we divide it. Now, a lot of people were going like this. And that's cool and all, but guess how many shapes that is? That's 4. So we only need 3. So if you erase this little thing right here, you could have done it like this. Right? And here is one rectangle, here's another rectangle, and here's a triangle. Or you could have done it like this. Some people did it like this. Some people's brains just think different, and the computer's going to recognize both as right answers, okay? So do you see there's a rectangle now, here's a rectangle, and here is a right triangle, okay? So you could have done it both ways, but either way, on your answers, you see these spots where you have shape 1, shape 2, and shape 3? You need at least 2 rectangles and 1 right triangle. And on the rectangles, here are your choices. On the rectangles. So when you look at this rectangle, do you see how the base of this rectangle is 10 and the height is 3? The height is not 7. That's the height of this whole thing. Just from here to here is 3. The base is 10, the height is 3. So if you drew it like this, one of your rectangles has a length. Length is going this way, height is going up and down. So you have to make sure you put a 10 here, not 3 and 10, but 10 and 3. Okay, so length is 10, height is 3, if you chose that rectangle. Now, if you did this one instead, one of your rectangles, the length right here is 4, and the height is 7. So you could have had a rectangle with 10, 3, or if you did this shape, you could do a rectangle with 4 and 7. 4 first, then the 7. Okay? Then this rectangle right here, people were doing 7 and 4. You can't. The other rectangle is not 7 tall. From here to here is 7. What is it from here to here though?
3.
Pay attention and focus. What is it? If this is 7, how tall is this? This is 3. So how tall is this? 4. Okay, so this is 4 by 4. So the other rectangle was 4, length of 4, height of 4. Or if you did this one, the other rectangle was a length from here to here. Remember, this whole thing is 10. So if this is 4, how long is this? 6. So if you did this shape, your other rectangle was 6, and your height was how tall? 3. So you could have done the rectangle 4 by 4 or the rectangle 6 by 3. Any questions on that? Okay, and then the right triangle. Everybody's right triangle should be the same. On your right triangle, it's from here to here. What is that base? What is the length? If this is 10 and this is 4, how much is this? 6, okay? So this is 6, so the length should be 6, and the height is from here to here. Or like we said, from here to here, not 7, but from here to here is how much? 4. So 6 and 4. Do y'all get that one now? Do y'all get what they were trying to make you do? Did you fix it on your paper? Did you draw the blanks? Any questions on that one? So let's talk about how to put it in. I've got to stick with one shape. I'm either doing this one or I'm doing this one. So I'm going to do this one. I got a rectangle, and you can do it in any order as long as the rectangle matches with the rectangle stuff, the triangle matches with the triangle stuff. So rectangle with 4 and 4, a right triangle with 6 and 4, and then another rectangle that was 10 inches in length and 3 inches in height. Okay? Good? We all get it? No questions about it? All right. Let's move on to number... Okay, this one, line plot. So the very first thing you're supposed to do is... Okay, so I wrote them all down. And when I was writing them all down, I actually missed a 0. So be careful. Write them all down and then order them for least to greatest. When you order them for least to greatest, you got 2 zeros, 2 0.2s, 1 0.3, 2 0.5s, 1 0.6, 1 0.7, and then 1. So when you plot them, how many zeros do you have? You should put 2 dots here. How many? You don't have any on the 0.1. 0.2, you have 2 of them, so you put 2 dots on the 0.2. On the 0.3, you only have 1 of them, so you put 1 dot. So let me show you how this works on here. You just say, okay, how many zeros do I have? I have 1, 2. So I need to put a dot there and a dot there. You just stack them on top of each other. You just tap it. Any on 0.1? Any on 0.2? How many?
2.
Any on 0.3?
Yes.
How many?
1.
How many on 0.4?
None.
How many on 0.5?
2.
How many on 0.6?
1.
How many on 0.7?
1.
How many on 0.8?
None.
How many on 0.9?
None.
How many on 1?
1.
That is what it should look like. No extra dots, no missing dots, because then you get the whole thing wrong. Any questions on that one? All right, next. Next we have this one. You just have to click the 2 you want, and it'll create a line to all of them. Y'all did pretty good on this one. So we know that this is the net for a a square base pyramid. This one right here is the one to a cube. And then we click this one and it will connect to them, and that is a triangular prism. Okay, so you should have 2 lines going down and 1 line going up. You could have drawn them, you could have drawn boxes, whatever. So I know that you knew how to match the figures. Any questions on that one? No? No questions? I hope y'all are correcting this, because you don't get that score that I gave you back if you don't. All right, now this one. Mark your solutions. So we have this inequality up here, and we have to plug in for x a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 15 and tell if it's true or not. Is it a solution or is it not a solution? So we go over and I write each one of them out. Okay, here's my original number, and I'm going to plug them in. So first I'm going to plug in a 1. So I plugged in a 1 here, and 15 divided by 1 is 15, plus 6 gives me 21. Is 21 greater than 9? Then that solution is true. So x equals 1 is a solution. So I checked it. What about when I plug in a 3? 15 divided by 3 gives me 5, plus 6 gives me 11. Is 11 greater than 9? So that is a solution. So 15 divided by 5 is 3, plus the 6 gives me 9. Is 9 greater than 9?
No.
No. So that is not a solution. Then 15 divided by 15 is 1, plus the 6 gives me 7. Is 7 greater than 9? No, that is not a solution. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, so in this, all you had to do was select, 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 select. Make sense? Take your time to plug them in. Don't sit there and try to guess. All right, now the very last one, number 12. We keep forgetting when and what we're trying to show. This says to graph on the number line any possible answer choices for x. When you see these, think, what can be my possible answers for x? Can my x be 1? Yeah, because 1 is less than 7. Can my x be 8? No, because 8 is not less than 7, okay? So what will show all the possible answer choices for what x could be? X could be anything that's blank and blank. Anything that's blank or more, anything that's blank or less. What are all my answer choices for what x could be? Christian.
You put a non-filled in circle around.
Okay, no. Tell me what all my answer choices could be. Like,
1 through 6.
okay.
0 through 6.
Can it be 7? Okay, but what about like right in between the 6 and the 7? What about like 6.5? What like 6.99999? Okay, so then how do I show that? Traden, like how do I show this? How do I show all my answers for what x could be? It can be anything blank or more, or blank or less. It can be anything 8 or more. So if it's 8, is 8 less than 7? Is 9 less than 7? So that wouldn't make that true. It's got to be anything that can make this statement true. So obviously our x has to be anything that's less than what number? 7. but it doesn't include 7 because 7 is not less than 7. So if it doesn't include it, you have an open circle because it doesn't include it. If it's filled in, you're saying it includes that answer. So we know it has to be open circle, not only because it doesn't have a line under it, but because it doesn't include 7, but it starts at 7. Because we can't start it at 6. If we started at 6, we're missing all those points in between that also could be true. So we have to put it at 7, but we show that it's not including 7 by making the circle open. So I make the circle open, and then my answer choices can be anything more than 7 or less than 7 would make that true. Less. X is anything less than 7. So anything less than 7. So I get my arrow and I point this way. Okay? Any questions on that? And I can check it because it's opened, because there's no line under it. Think about it. If you put a line under it, you're filling it in. And then if X is first, my inequality sign is actually pointing to the direction of the arrow. Any questions on that? Okay. So you press next. Oh, you press next. Oh, do you see how it didn't save that? Ooh. Press next. Make sure it filled everything in. And then you press, if you needed to flag anything, you could. And then end test and make sure you check everything. And then you can press submit. Okay? So, did everybody understand all of that? No questions about it?